That's okay, that's good. Are you good to begin?
Yeah,
Okay, great, wonderful. And good evening, everybody. Welcome. We are actually going to begin now at 7:11. I hope you can all hear me. I would like to talk on adoption of the agenda. Okay, Trustee Beal, seconded Trustee Horn, all in favor? Wonderful. And before, thank you. Moved. And before we have a presentation, I would love to acknowledge that we are on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Cochin-Shan Smialik-speaking people. And I would like to also offer my gratitude that I am allowed to live on this amazing land, and my commitment to truth and reconciliation is my commitment to truth and understanding our shared truth and learning from people who offer beautiful wisdom on our shared truth. And again, I really would love to share the glorious teachings of Chief Kenneth Warren that we were able to hear at our academy. And if you have heard of him, if you haven't heard of him, I encourage you to listen to him. It was wonderful teaching. So thank you. And I would love to pass this over for our gorgeous presentation this evening. Thank you.
Thanks again. I'm a hopeful, everyone, and we're here to share the journey with our son. And it started 2 years ago. So, when we say Samara, we always want to say who helped us with that learning. So help you right now to say whole in Samara. Sam. So after we get the oil means time immemorial. It means Xinjiang people have been here since time immemorial, and the protocols and the art and culture and language has been since time immemorial. And so it makes a lot of meaning and a lot of guidance from our Xinjiang Language Authority that helped Russ with naming the whole process like it so it means since time immemorial. So the journey begins. October 2019. Yeah. So we it started with talks of the learning commons with renovation for the Charles Hayes Library. And one main goal of that was to have huge cultural Xinjiang presence, visual presence in the library. Because it's a beautiful space and it's a learning commons for community and students and staff to come and share in the learning. So it started out as just maybe a drawing or painting, which turned into a full-on 360 pole some way somehow. But and we wanted to follow protocol as much as we could within the school district and within the education system. And part of that was because we need to follow protocol. Raising a pole is very different than any other artwork. It's very significant and it's there forever. So we needed to take steps in following protocol that given approval from the deceased members. And Russ was really good at getting that together and gathering the important dignitaries for that to happen. And for that to happen without it being a bit showy or performative, we needed to keep it a bit intimate because we didn't want to lose that kind of virtual connection and protocol. So we got the poll and brought it to Charles Hayes with huge help and support from James Warburton, who was able to get the poll here, pick the poll log for us. And him and Russ had many talks. we were needed to start it out in the right way, and that was to bring life into it and have it at the full where it's at its home. And in order to do that, we needed to have the police members there, Megan Dicon, Russ and his family, and some witnesses. And I believe Andrew was there to witness the blessing of Holy before Russ starts to make any cuts.
If I may. Dignitaries, thank you for opening up your doors here. I've had several meetings with the Gitchis tribe in Lac-Megan's at the United Church before it burned. So all their records burned with it, so we have, other than us talking with each other, that's our own recording, oral history. And I provided them with gifts before they left. We each got a print before we even broke any bark on this tree. I talked to them. Protocol is really important to practice. And it's these behind the scenes stuff that you guys aren't aware of. In our culture, it's a must. It's called our ayala. Okay? And that's how we practice this. How I grew up, that's how I was raised, and I see one of my former students sitting over there. Choose my words carefully here. So, this whole process, just getting it to that point, there were several meetings that happened in Lac-Megan's and Sorry. And this is Amelia, my daughter.
And Lucy.
Left hand Lucy.
That's okay, I'm not.
Or looking guy back here, I don't know.
So during the blessing, and then the first kind of cuts start, and that was quite the feeling.
A side note, the Gitchis have a man in their records named James Warburton. That was his name in the Gitchis tribe. So once I mentioned that name, they were.
James? I know, I knew, that's the family.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. So they're really interested about this.
They're very accommodating. We just didn't tell them it wasn't.
It's Warburton.
The cold and weather kind of set in for us, being outside in front of the trail days. It wasn't there for very long, but we knew that we had to move it someplace safe and warm, and we, were allowed to move it to Pyramid's shop, and that's where it lived for a couple of years. And, but the journey of it, once it got there, was like beautiful, and I think most of you went to go visit and maybe had a hand in carving them at that time, but many hands. That was Russ's home. I have your bed there.
Silver thing.
Many hours and many meetings there, like you would have meetings about it, and like, hey, let's get it full, folks, what did they call him, and then Ben Spencer. Do you want to talk a little bit about process?
Yeah, on this stage, I believe we had 3 strong meetings again with the Gitchis members back home and here in the community here. And their critique of the design changed over the time we had it. Because when we saw the area it was going, there wasn't that dome ceiling. The Chiefs members wanted it straight out. That was their only critique. But thanks to Mr. Warburton and his fancy tape, we figured out how to drop that beat. And it magically fit within the dome. Otherwise, we would have had to cut the drywall out. That's what they said. Right when you handle the seed recovery. The benefit we had in this, other than being away from the weather, was, visits. I wish we had pictures of the summer reading play, the little ones, because they came in and they were painted. They had a doubt with Mr. Campbell in the adjacent classroom. And after that, they came in and identified some of the crests on the poles, and we talked about it and then painted. Unfortunately, I don't know if we have any pictures of that process, but it was really enjoyable. My bed you seen up front there, that silver thing, some of them had to stand on there to paint, but it was so painted. And that's one group I can remember, but there's so many that came through in the community. Again, I was had the opportunity when the weather was bad, so bad, the pumps were going in that room, and we never knew them. I didn't know Cane Island sunk. So it was pretty amazing to see the guys, maintenance guys, whip around, pumps going, and they're in their carving. Really unique.
I'm sure we have pictures of this and maybe from
Okay.
Laura online somewhere. You want to talk about physics classrooms and learning?
Yeah, so I think it was nice, we got to be there quite a bit, facilitating some of those learnings, and I got to go as well, but all of the classrooms from kindergarten to grade 12, the community organizations come in and ask questions about protocol, the process, the design, and then Russell is so good at teaching and getting people to get rid of their doubt, no doubt. So just building that confidence and letting them touch the pole and leave their mark on it. And you really see that spark of pride and joy, you know, in lighting them. So it was really special to be a part of it. But with that summer read-and play, so Russ had drawn the design on, he painted it, and then he sanded it all on for him to draw it on again, and then for us to paint it. Which is very, very sweet. But then also the high school, Ms. Robinson's class came in probably 15 times. And those students helped to position the poles together and apart and work together. And that was also really special to be a part of.
And then the final week, around November 22nd, we had to move the pole back to its original space, its home control space in the library, and that was quite significant because we needed to, the weather was getting colder. Russ was concerned a little bit about having time to sanitize the pool so it didn't crack too much, or just gonna get it ready. And but when we got it there, it was like just so amazing to have everybody have their hands in clean, all the students, but staff also, and community. It was a very busy place for a full week.
To have a pole go from one school to another, the atmospheres are way different. Like the moisture content and the heat, it's all different. And I shouldn't have told Roberta this, but while we're doing this, I'm telling her, one of my friends from Friendship Post said that their artist brought their pole in and it popped, cracked. So they pushed it in the corner and that's what lives in. Should have saved that story till after we got the pole. Note to self. But thankfully, it did open up a bit, but it will with the change of the weather. It'll do that. Just not as dramatic as, say, the one in the Civic Center when you walk in. Quite dramatic.
So let me see how to do. I don't know if it's true. And because of the delicate space that it was going to be stood up, we didn't do it publicly like the traditional pole raising. It was like a lot of figuring out beforehand before this team came in, and we just kind of closed the blinds, locked the doors, and Russ led this group to bring it up, and we're there to witness it, which was so cool.
Yeah, we had a Get Cheese member present. She was actually the first student that carved on the pole when we got there. She's graduate now. So she got to witness us put it up backwards. Switch it around.
I have that video, actually, I won't share it. So, so I could get on, let Russ know which way the equal faces, which way the rising faces, and so they kind of finally got it up there on the right, and they were like all sweating and holding it up there, and they're about to tie it, and Russ was like, "Oop, it's backwards." So Jimmy did along, but I think the next part was pretty easy to do that.
How much is one week?
160 pounds.
So the unveiling part, I don't have the video of the actual unveiling, but it was quite meaningful and powerful and emotional. Not gonna say who had some tears. But I think part of it, the long journey and the strong relationships that kind of were built throughout the journey and before, and relationships that are gonna happen after, it was just very powerful. And Russ, I know he won't, it's still difficult for him to share, but throughout this process, his dad was with him. And then recently his dad passed this year, and so he was able to finish it, and that was his dad's strong message is to get it done in the right way. And so we had guest speakers and disease members being able to speak and share. They were quite impressed by the protocol that was being followed. It was great. These members on the side there, and then when you get on with the other. Yeah.
Roberta, that young fella on the bottom right with the popper. Years ago when I moved home, 2000 something, he was one of the first kids that came to the shop, and I couldn't get him to leave. I could drive him home. His name is Braden. So he's the spokesperson for the Get Cheese people. And the man on the upper left, Andy Tate, he's their chief. He walked closest to their chief that passed on. That's why they're all dressed in black, no regalia. And we had dialogue right through this whole process. And we weren't sure how many were coming because they wanted to take their whole group. They've never seen a 360 or understood what 360 was for the whole. It's really rare. It's something you don't see, and some of the staff at Charles Hayes had no clue what it was until we put it together. Then they understood, oh, okay. So I just wanted to share that. And we got their nod of approval. They're very happy to get you. And they wanted one.
It's not easy.
There's a lot of work in the background has to happen. And I, you know, over the period of time through this process, I had our mayor, Elizabeth Mayor, come up because I only have one question for you. I said, go ahead. How come it took you so long? He was the first one to the open house. So I said, this little thing called COVID-19. But I became invested in this, heavily invested, because Roberta and I go way back. built championship teams together. We all made it, but we can use that as a message to send across, or just the connections way, way back. There used to be- But it's that connection and, you know, the deals we carried back and forth with each other. I called her my sanctuary here because I didn't know what was going on when the village was shut down. We weren't allowed to leave the village. Roberta was my eyes and ears over here. But I found the loophole how to get over it was through medical. That's how I got in. Otherwise, I have to pay a $750 fine each time you get caught. So they're monitoring the ferry line.
So there's like many people to thank, and Lucy's here, and also to, she was morning till night with us until the poll was done, and even when it was up, she was still up there competing. With a few others on the ladder, and Tina Robinson also was able to go in the morning, teach all day, and then go in the evening, go coach, and then come back and teach again. So there's a lot of details that went into it in the last few days. And then we celebrated.
I was fortunate enough, at the unveiling, there was so much coming out that I didn't take notes. I got notes today, but I forgot to thank my wife. Yep. Rub the salt in. And my daughter, Rain, who was with me at the very beginning, that picture you saw in the beginning. But, thankfully, Roberta helped. We are working on that. I have a blanket to present her, and she has a name in our tribe too. So, I was hoping she was gonna be at this, but she's been sick off and on, so she couldn't make it. There's so many people wanted to thank over the years, but maybe we could do it in a letter form or something.
Well, the poll's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So the celebration was, just kind of uplifting. We weren't going to have a feast. We just time constraints and stuff, but everybody who was present received, brand new print that Russ designed for us also. Which are part of the ears on top of the pole. So when you go see the pole, take a look, with the one side is eyes, which represents the learner, eyes of wonderment, and then the other one is the knowledge holder. And then each person was able to take a piece of the pole with them, and the title of the pole has to like at the boy. And have food, sharing the food. That was amazing. And the name of the print is Uglis Ya'an, and it means passing forward for all time. So the pole is the Sana Memorial, and the print is passing that knowledge forward, which is our way of saying truth and reconciliation.
And the wide eyes of wonderment is the child, the learner, and the oblong ovoid eye is the knowledge keeper, sharing of knowledge. And you look at Roberta's start, the poem and designs, it's the eyes of wonderment on it.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
So I like to have some kind of continuity between my pieces that I do. To refer to the left around.
There was one student, Hyla McQuaid, she stayed late, like probably till 7, she wouldn't leave until she got to see the orange. And their orange for testing for the school slash the students for every child.
Yeah.
So I don't know who didn't get a print yet, but
I didn't get one. I was away. Thank you. I will cherish this forever.
I didn't either.
Thank you, Russell.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got the copy.
Good. Those are home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Mike would have been.
No.
Okay.
How do we get on tonight?
Yeah, we can get it going.
Yes, trustee Horn.
I'd like to thank very much Russell, Lucy, and the whole that went to all this effort. Because for our learners, for long into the future, that will be there to encourage them, to lead them, to show them our feelings, and to help them. So really thank you. That really came across in when I saw the poll and saw the work you've done. So thank you very much for your team.
This shows that we're moving forward. Growing up, we wouldn't have seen this at my age, so we're moving forward finally. Finally, we need to get to the truth, like everyone says, before we get to reconciliation. And this is the beginning of that, so, I feel like I'm gonna start crying here, so I don't wanna start crying, but I'm much appreciative of your work. You're one of the most beautiful artists. I have lots of art from around the world that I cherish your work, and I cherish what you've done for our school district. Because this is just another indication that we can move forward together, right, Jen? Together.
Thank you so much, Russell. But thank you so much, and when Hyla spoke of how the blessing of the poll was when she entered grade 9, and the reveal is when they're in grade 12, and my son is graduating as well. What an amazing gift to all of our learners and all of the learners who have graduated in the time that got to be part of this, and all of the learners on the other end who have entered our district that have gotten to be a part of this, and how kind and caring, and how you went above and beyond to ensure that everybody. And I remember going in and with so many kids and saying, you can't hurt it. You can't hurt it. Take a tool, you can't hurt it, and just that openness and that kindness and the sharing, and what you taught our kids is beyond, and will stay with them forever, I'm sure. Thank you so much. And I also want to say how beautiful it was to witness protocol in front of us, when people got up to speak, and we spoke after what a huge gift that was to get to witness following protocol right in front of our eyes at the review. So thank you for all of that.
The Gitchis are one of the bigger tribes, and I really commend them for allowing us to move forward, because they lost 2 matriarchs just before the celebration. So I had dialogue with them, making sure everything was going to move forward. So they're all ready to do it. Look at you and on and it's probably not looking at her video.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a wonderful night.
Bye, Amelia.
Thank you so much.
Promise for the photo, so we don't
Happy evening, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, on to approval of the minutes of the open board meeting held November 8th. Trustee Horn, seconded trustee Meyer, would you like to speak to that? Wonderful, all in favor? Sorry, can you hear us, Louisa? Can you hear us okay, Mike? Sorry,
You bet. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm
Wonderful.
good.
And can you hear us, trustee Sanchez?
Looks like a no.
Louisa, did you hear me?
All right, all in favor? So moved, thank you. Yes. And necessity of closed meeting and agenda. Trustee Meyer, seconded trustee Horn, all in favor? So moved. Oh. And correspondence addressed to the board, 5.1, none, 5.2, wishes of the board.
Yeah, can I make a motion to receive and file 5.2.1 to 5.2.9?
Trustee Pucci will second.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to that motion?
No, a lot of this is just, back and forth, but for, public and trustees to take note of, 5.2.5 and 5.2.9, which is the foundation skill assessment, just to show that there are two sides to that, argument, and both of them are really good arguments. And, also 5.2.6, the refund, funding for exempt compensation, is a good thing as well, but to receive and
Wonderful. All in favor? Oh, did you
Well,
want to speak to
yes.
that?
Yes,
Cool.
please.
Yeah.
Fine, stay. So first of all, with the first letter 521, this is to do with educating teachers who work in rural schools in remote areas. Something the board has been working towards doing, and doing the best possible work we could do. It's better to get local people educated as teachers so that they help our students out. The following letter. Which is to do with the changes to the School Act, the immigration status, which doesn't so much affect us, but updating of the attributes of the graduate does. We need to keep more on top of this movement to include more students into the graduate program. Making programs that are more suited to our youth will in the future make it easier for our youth to achieve success at our schools. So that all this stuff works towards what we as a board are trying to do. So we'll take notice of that and keep going. Then of course, on page 16, there's a letter from FNLC to the DCTF, and there's a reply later in the list of papers. The fact that the DCTF is trying to discredit the FSA, the program that the FNLC and FNESC have been pushing to make it better for the students to address systematic racism that is experienced, and with the families as well, within the public education system. It's a big point. We should be saying as much as we can about it to show our support for these measures. I want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I wanted to actually talk about that as well, and I think that, when we go to our AGM in April, I'd be anxious to see the motions, considering that there's been a lot of variables out there since we've really opened up truth and reconciliation since the last time we met, especially with the unfortunate situation with, uncovering Mark Graves. So I'll be very, very interested to see, what type of support, what type of motions we get over that. Because I think that, what I've heard when I was at the meeting from different boards down there, that we're anxious to start moving forward. We're not gonna move forward if we don't start recognizing the past. So I think that these all things are part and parcel of how we need to move each of our boards forward. Our branches need to be more stronger and in order to put these kind of resolutions forward, because I don't wanna hear just, lip syncing, I guess you call it anymore, and that's what we've heard far too long. So I think that, all these programs are part and parcel of how we're gonna get to resolve some of the deeper rooted issues with reconciliation.
That's a question. Yes,
Trustee Dalton?
I also read that, found that it was a very passionate letter. Don't know very much about that, but my question was, should I be assuming that this is done here in our district? So we're not really the one targeted for supporting that. You know, we would like other people to embrace it to make it happen. If I understood correctly.
So if I could offer the FSAs happen across the province, across the country. And what is happening here is, that some districts have teachers that send home letters or say, please don't let your children participate in these.
Yes.
And then, we have Connect stating what their stance is on these, ask them why they feel they're important. And then we also have the letter from the DCTF saying what their problems are with, the FSAs. And that they're also, if you read the second paragraph, the primary concern is that there is a Fraser Institute which uses these condemned schools.
Yes, I had read that and wondered what was the correlation on that, the Fraser Institute.
Just to share with you, because we've got will remember that our board has struggled for how many years now, because the Fraser Institute always paints a bad picture of Prince Rupert. And so it's divide and conquer, and we faced this for years, and I guess I can honestly say that I'm really torn about the FSAs, because if it didn't address the particular school, maybe I wouldn't have such a problem with it, but remember, it was addressing Roosevelt, it was targeting schools, and it was breaking my heart to see that kids that struggle and that are trying their best were getting, they had the black mark against them, right? And so I have a struggle with the FSAs, but I think it could be done in a better way, and I think us boards need to become, united as one. And so Institute, if they want to report, that's one thing, but I don't think that we need to have, the reporting done so that it targets particular schools. I think it needs, that information should just go to, people like the superintendent who can, you know, have the necessary meetings with the teachers, the principals to see where we're lacking and how we can, develop children, but not target them.
Trustee Horn?
And on top of that, I would say too, that it's not, the FSA is just a data tool. It's the fact that it's being used, all sides still want the data. But the problem with it is that the way it's being used. So,
Yes,
the FSA.
And just before we forget, if I could just add, I think the second paragraph of the letter from the DCTF really, shows what I think the all wanting. It's a great tool, it's data. And let's unwind it from the ranking of schools. I remember it being written in the newspaper and kids having anxiety because they knew that this was coming. And how is that thing? And thank you. So we have a motion on the table for this season file. All in favor? Okay, so moved. Thank you. Superintendent of Schools report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first thing you will see is 6.1.1, which is the field trips that have been approved. And it is great to see that our students are able to travel and our staff to compete in other areas, and also just getting out different like skiing and enjoying fresh air.
Thank you. Sorry, before, if anyone is having problems hearing online, can you please let us know? Thank you. Trustee Horn?
Thank you, Superintendent Samuel. There's a couple of trips here. One was already done, December 3, The terrace, doesn't say what it's for. So I think, I'm assuming that's basketball zones, is that correct? No? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's again repeated further down. So it's terrace and basketball zones on the 10th, which has already
Might
happened.
actually be volleyball zones, because basketball zones won't happen so much.
It says basketball, but it's different for grade 11, 12, and grade 9, 10.
Okay, yeah, all right, so I see, yeah,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
And clarity here, it's a zone competition, not the zone
All good,
competition.
And thank you. And now to enrollment, 6.1.2, I yield the floor to Sandra Pond.
Thank you, Superintendent. When I give enrollment numbers, I'm looking at head count, so we like to say bums in seats. And, this number includes our fee-paying students or any international students that have chosen to come to Prince Rupert to learn. And, so it's not FTE, it's head count. So those numbers would be different, so that's something to just watch for when you're looking at enrollment. And I was surprised to see that the numbers are down this month. So, when I printed, the report on November 30th, we're down to 1,828 students. We had been at 1,840 at the end of October. But when I looked at why, 17 students moved out of our district. Really? 17, and 5 moved in, and it really surprised me. And then, you know, I can get the reports to see where students have gone, and lots of them have gone out of the district, some, yeah, and, some out of the province. Yeah, so it's just interesting. So some families are on the move for whatever reason they don't.
That's
Yeah. So we'll see what January brings, or just the end of December, we'll see. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And 6.1.3, mental health update. We had received, this was the second year in a row that we had received a special purpose grant for mental health literacy. And what we did with the money is we provided additional counseling time at Charles Hayes School, 0.25 of an FTE, for Mike Russell to work with staff and students on mental health wellness and to create sustainable lessons so that teachers could continue to grow and provide mental health literacy in their classrooms. So Mike's done a number of presentations in almost every grade, grade 9, grade 10, and grade 12. He's worked on lessons for anxiety, depression, healthy relationships, and then in partnership with the RCMP, he's done some sessions on violence and abuse. He's also had a number of innovative programs where, for example, they had a lunch hour discussion, which is post-COVID stress discussion. How do we transition back to normal? Which many of the kids remembered that we had markers in the hallway, and you walk down this way and you walk up that way, and certain stairs were up only and down only. So it's a discussion to let students talk about their experiences.
So did we remove, the markers now? Okay, I just was curious because I see that lots of people still have them in place, right? So I'm not quite sure, like, it's a bad reminder, but
Just in the odd place, you'll see markers on the floor, marked
Yeah,
directions.
yeah, I just wondered if we removed that.
Mike models his lessons, provides teaching materials to the teachers, as I said, so they can deliver the lessons on their own in the future, which is creating the sustainability, which is not a condition of the grant, but part of what they're asking us to do. And for example, one student, through a lot of the work that they had done in these sessions, their grade 12 capstone project was to design a wellness room, place where a student could go and do things to be well. So whether it's meditation or just a calm, quiet And, they also had a program that was Plant Parenthood. And, yeah, the Planned Parenthood where
Yeah.
a student grows a plant and they're
I
looking
thought you
at
said
sharing.
plant.
I know, that's why I want to be very clear. Planned Parenthood, where the students learn empathy, compassion, etc., in taking care of a plant. So, and they come up with the name, yeah,
Okay.
so. And they have other Wellness Wednesday meetings, which talk about a growth mindset, positive mental health, and a variety of topics that come both from the students, from the staff, and from Mike. So,
Okay.
so that is your update on the mental health literacy special purpose. Right.
Questions? Okay, thank you. Anyone?
Next, upcoming projects, learning and other. So of course, the Truth and Reconciliation poll was a wonderful presentation today. Thank you, Roberta, and to Mr. Russell Mather, and to Lucy and the staff. It was a big highlight for me because this is normally we report on November in the December meeting. So it was a big highlight for me and a very, very big honor to speak as well at the event. I was very honored. And I learned so much from like wearing the kids who are diseased, who are wearing black because they can't wear the full regalia, and they explain that, and it's like, okay, this is living history, you're learning something while you're there, and that's very, very powerful. It's authentic. So, and I appreciated that I actually did do some carving on the pole, and we, yeah, it's like, don't wreck it. Say, "Can't wreck it." I'm a big guy. But it's indeed an honor to be. I actually carved some of that pole, so yeah, great. Okay, so again, thank you, Roberta and your team, and a couple of items. So Charles Hayes has a cooking club that's met for the first time. They made moose stew and bannock with Charlie Carlick and Billy Nelson providing the advice. They're
Where was
meeting.
this at?
They're at Charles Hayes. They're
Right.
meeting every Thursday to plan and prepare foods. They also gather the ingredients so that not only do they cook the ingredients there, but they also then everyone gets to take home a bag of stuff so that when they go home, they can cook it again with their family. Yes, with all the ingredients, yeah. And so this is made possible by a Reaching Home grant. And the mandate is to connect the community to our students and students with specific needs. SpongeBob, the musical. Well, of course, thank you to Allison O'Toole and Daniel Sim. Lots of helpers and a lot of community support. There were a lot of volunteers. Musical theater and drama programs are robust and an asset to our community and to our schools. I understand there is now a rumor that a choir club may be forming in the new year, and that's very exciting for Mr. Sim, because we have students who have they have said, I only stayed in school because of the drama club or the music. Many students, I don't hear a lot from students saying, I stayed in because of math. It's a fun.
Just as an anecdote for the choir, so my daughter, they had their first kind of like, oh, are you interested in choir? Come. And so we came home all excited, and she's like, last year there was only 6 of us in choir, and 22 walked through the door, and Mr. Sim looked so happy.
Good. It's coming.
Yeah.
The district band concert was last Sunday. Sorry. Students from most of our schools joined together to play some of your favorite songs. Thanks to Ms. Tillman, Mr. Sim, and all the volunteers from the community who helped out. And other upcoming, of course, Conrad Elementary is hosting a craft night tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. to 7:30, and it's mainly designed for the schools and the school kids and their families. It's not an open craft fair for the public. So the families will roam between classrooms and partake in different crafts in each room. Roosevelt is having a winter concert Wednesday night at the Lester Center. And what's interesting is, I thought this was very good, that some families who indicated they are without transportation, they will be picked up and then brought to the event and then taken back to the city bus stops. And I thought that is a great way to bring families in. Pine Ridge Elementary is having their winter family night / concert, as we are here right now. Wonder if we can get it on YouTube. Lehane Elementary is having a winter concert as well at the Lester Center right now. PRMS is having a craft night, 6:30 till 8 p.m. on Wednesday. And Charles Hayes Secondary will have their annual gym riot. And that is students sign up for teams and they compete in the gym, in the computer labs, in the cooking rooms. They do crafts, they do fitness challenges, and all sorts of opportunities to gather points for their team. So very exciting. Thursday. Good eye. Whoopsie. I'd also like to take this time to mention the Breakfast Club of Canada. So the Breakfast Club of Canada donates a lot of money and equipment to our schools for breakfast and lunch programs. Locally, so there's Breakfast Club of Canada, and locally, we have many local businesses donate money, such as Trigon, Prince Rupert Port Authority, Pembina, Prince Rupert Terminal, Walmart. There's a lot of other businesses that donate money to the Breakfast Club of Canada, and then the funds are transferred through to schools. Over the last few weeks, Sandy Pond and I have joined many of the volunteers from these companies to cook pancakes for the kids and fruit. Well, we don't cook the fruit, but we also hand out the fruit. And thanks, of course, to the parents and many PAC volunteers from each of the schools who also volunteer their time. And lastly, Madam Chair, I have two things. One of the things that we are hoping with the number of non-certified TPOCs that we have is to get going again with our anti-racism committee. And so I'll be talking to BCPF, PRDPU, and saying that, you know, this is an official committee, so there's a structure to it. And also our district equity team. So we have equity teams forming in the schools, but we don't have a district team that would have an overall look and could meet 3-4 times a year. We have a lot of meetings going on after school, and it's a busy time. And certainly this month it's been busy after school. So with sufficient numbers of TPOCs, that could free staff to meet during school hours, and that is our goal. We're hoping that in the month of January that we'll have sufficient numbers of TPOCs to cover classes without having to pull teachers from their current assignment to cover for another class. And that is my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Questions? No. Full of good information, though. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much. 7, Secretary Treasurer's report, 7.1.
All right, on pages 26 and 27 of your package are the expenditure reports, the different formats we provide. The sort of operating income loss at the end of November is virtually unchanged from last month, which meant the revenue and expenses matched in that particular month. We're continuing to review the budget, and if we do come in on budget at the end of the year, that would result in an overall increase in the contingency fund available to the board. Next year's budget, however, we still, at this point, expect there will be reductions in revenue and, of course, increases in costs, which will lead to challenges to be faced in the budget process coming up. Any questions you may have on that? All right, the following page is the operations department report for the month of November. Any questions you may have on that?
I read, was the washroom completed? Any comment?
Is now done.
Oh,
Quite nice.
exciting, yeah. Great.
No other questions on page 29 is the information technology department report. And are there any questions you may have on that? And I will conclude my report.
Thank you. Committee report, Finance and Building Committee.
Finance and Building met last week. We have in front of you on page 30, the annual budget consultation dates that are made in a, we'll make a motion to adopt.
Secondary,
Mike,
Trustee Meyer, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The second thing is, I'm not sure if we adopt it or recommend, no, we do adopt this, right?
No, I just get what you say there.
Oh, we don't need to make a recommendation to do it?
No.
Okay. Basically, that's it, because the expenditure report was the other thing, and Pam's already spoke about that.
Wonderful, thank you. 8.2, framework for enhanced student learning. Trustee Horn?
Yeah, this was held while we were away in Vancouver recently. So I'll hand over to Sandy to give us a report on what happened because he was attending.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the large frame met on December 1st, and the goal of this meeting is to use the overview for enhancing student learning to just remind us about the importance of the framework. It's kind of everything that we do in School District 52. It's a continuous improvement program where we collaborate with stakeholders and rights holders, where we build capacity, we publish outcomes and measures each year, and we conduct review. So it's to support planning and reporting, and everything connects to the strategic plan. So at this meeting, we looked at the data that is included in the annual Enhancing Student Learning Report that was submitted in September. And we looked at the ministry data that's on the ministry website for School District 52 that's available to the public. And we focused on how that data aligns to the priorities of the strategic plan. Then we reviewed the recommendations from our spring meeting, from our survey results, and reviewed the scripts that the teachers use with the students to when they take the survey, and made some suggestions for our rollout. And our next steps will be to roll the survey out in January, the end of January, collect the data, collate the data, and then meet on March the 3rd to look at the data. So it's just a big circle. Yeah, it's a big circle. It's great.
Wonderful, thank you for
Thank
that
you for
report.
that report.
Any questions? Any? Thank you very much. Provincial Council. Trustee Martin?
I'm gonna.
Well, maybe I should, I'll take this one.
Yes,
Yes,
please, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So I attended the meeting. It was a very procedural meeting. The goal of it was to pass a number of things around the bank account and standard reports that need to get filed for the board to function. And it's all set up so that the AGM can actually have motions and such. But this was a fairly short half an hour, nothing of fireworks by any means, revolving around accepting the financials.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Any questions for Trustee Pucci? Okay, not seeing any. 8.3.2, move to the BCSTA AGM. Great. Would you like me to do?
Well, I'll speak, I'll start, sure. So, trustees will be discussing a process by which, you know, at the BCSD AGM, there can be many motions. And so the hope is that our district can work with our regional branch to have a motion come from the branch that would look at ensuring the BCSJ board has appropriate regional representation on the board. The chair and I had looked at the first draft of the possible motion. We didn't quite ready yet to kind of go anywhere. But I think your desire would be to determine if trustees on the board are supportive of continuing that work. And then that would bring us back to the January meeting and then hopefully a branch meeting in the near future as well.
Thank you so much. So I would speak to that as well, having spoke to the board, but really looking at ways following other frameworks that are already in place in other groups that we work with, a way that to ensure that each branch has a voice at the table, and which would build our executive for BCSTA having equal say amongst all the branches of and I would just be wondering the direction of the board, if you are fine if I connect with the branch and see if this is something that they'd like to pursue. I see lots of hands, trustee Ryan.
I was just gonna say, go for it. It's
Yeah.
definitely needed, but yeah.
I just want to speak on it because as a long-term board member, not that that matters, but we've been dealing with this for many, many years. And it's it's a cumbersome process, I will tell you, but we have lack of voice when it comes to BCSTA. It's a weighted vote for everything, and so when we go to these forums to try to get things passed for the northern district, like the northern end, if we can't get the bigger groups on side, we always fail. So we don't have any voices at these tables, and we need to unite together, strength in numbers, as they say, in order to be able to, produce a better education system in the northern end of the province. They always say that education or anything stops, north of Hope or whatever, right? And it's true, because we lack, the numbers to give us what we need to produce better, tools for our kids in education. So I have no problem for Kate going forward to all these smaller branches, and I'm not even saying go to the northern. I'm saying go to the south. I'm saying the smaller pockets, let's build our voice higher. So I fully 100% support it.
Thank you, trustee Ryan.
Yes, we have, thank you, Madam Chair. We have, individual, reasons for pushing, items at BCSDA that are different to the big voices down south. We in the north have different needs than they do. And so to make our voice heard and to do the best we can for our own students, we need to push forward and have voices on the board of directors. And so I fully support any move by our board to move forward in this agenda. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much. Any further comments? Do we need a motion for this direction? Wonderful, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. 8.4.1 Indigenous Education Council meeting. I think we've,
Deferred
trustee
it.
Sanchez, we're gonna table this until January. Thank you. 8.5.1 Policy Committee. Trustee Horn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a meeting on December 6th. Minutes are in page 31. We have 4 policies for approval. So a motion to approve these policies: number 3410, number 3420, number 3210, and number 3220.
And a seconder to that motion.
Trustee Pucci will second.
Trustee Pucci, would you like to speak to that motion?
Yes, it's, the Secretary Treasurer advised us at the meeting that there were no comments received. These policies had been sent out for review, and they came back with no changes asked for. So we're going to put that out there.
Wonderful, thank you. All in favor? Wonderful.
Aye.
And then we had also 2 policies for review: 6510, the board communications policy, and 6610, the making policy, which I'd like to make a motion to send out for review.
Seconder to that motion? Trustee Belton, would you like to speak to that motion?
Yes, these, especially the making policy policy has come up as an issue within the board because of the way we need to be sure that we are making policy the right way. So I'd like to ask the board at this point, does the board think that we're making policy the right way? Or is it okay to send this policy out for review and then approve it? If anybody has any comments, I'd like to hear them, please.
Trustee Beal?
I think that I attended the policy. I think that the information, and then you shared some things that of concern that you've asked Secretary Treasurer to remove and amend. And I think that, in looking at the policy, I think it's within reason, and I think that they should be sent out for review. And stakeholders, every stakeholder, the teachers union, I never get this right, Colleen's on there. IOUE. I do. Okay, Colleen, I got it backwards, but you know what I mean. everyone has an opportunity to have their say. And I personally think if everyone on there has a word change, we need to listen. So I think it's important that we do these policies, so I support this policy, James, both of them.
Thank you.
And I would just add, if we find out things are different in a couple of months, we can revisit this policy, correct?
At any time.
And I'll also make the statement that was talked about at the meeting, that we will compare, and I said it in other business here actually, that we will review other districts' policies, so to make sure that our policies align with the proper principles of the province and the way things are done at boards, so that we don't get so crazy with our policies. So I'd just like to make that statement, so.
Beautiful, thank you. Can you remind me, do we have a second for this motion? Wonderful. All in favor? Great. So moved. Thank you. Old business. ECSTA new trustee orientation and trustee academy happened December 1st through 3rd of 2022. I would like to open the floor if anybody would like to share anything from academy or new trustee orientation.
I certainly will. We get my pages here. So there we go. So we attended the academy in Vancouver, December 1 to 3. It was very much in line with the Truth and Reconciliation workings to teach the trustees and to show them how to go about doing the role of trustee within the framework of learning the truth and reconciliation. So I'd like to very much thank the people that put it together, Chair is part of, for doing that work, and because it was very special the way it was done and very informative. So thank you very much for that.
I agree with James. I feel that many of the working sessions, I attended all working sessions, deal with truth and reconciliation that had anything to do with how we move forward. I think that all those working sessions were great. However, I will speak frankly, I didn't find that our speakers, like other than Steve DeLorme, he just cracked me up. I love him. He's a little younger than me, but still love him. Anyway, other than him, I will tell you, they were dull and boring, and we've been at that forum with probably a couple of those speakers in the past, and didn't bring anything to the table except selling their books. So I was a bit, it wasn't in great taste that we had those speakers, but I will tell you, I learn every time I go. I learn a bit more in history. It's very overwhelming, to say the least, but I need to know it. If we all want to heal, we have to know it, right? So other than the sessions that we attended, I could do without a couple presenters, so thank you.
I will remind everybody that the survey has been sent out for how you start Academy went. It's in your email. If you need a link, please let me know, and please fill that out honestly and truthfully, because that is how we build better academies, better AGMs, and those are for your benefit, for all our benefit. And I would share, I thought it was really great that we were able to meet with the branch. As always, it felt very different to me. It seemed like a new energy, and some beautiful things that I heard were in our PLC session afterward. Not only do you have a new board every 4 years, but we have a whole new association every 4 years. And so how can we gather that new energy and really look at pushing things forward, like equity at our table, equal voice of every branch at our table, and really, I felt really a new energy in building a really strong branch and how valuable the branch is to our organization. Trustee Sanchez, yes? You're muted.
Okay. I really enjoyed the cafes, moving from one group to the other. For me, I learned a lot. I met new people. Instead of having the same group at the same time, there were different people and who had it wasn't only our area, just different people coming in, and was really interesting listening to other trustees. I thought that was really good. You know, I think the time was well spent with that. So that to me was the highlight for the apart from the Aboriginal guest speaker. He was awesome. And I agree with what Janet said. We don't want people selling books. We want to get information. Because I've learned, I knew what he had to say before, long before that. So.
Thank you, trustee Sanchez. Trustee Pucci?
Being a new member, I had a bit of an aha moment near the end. Understanding the individual learning plans and individual learning success plans that we're moving towards and in many cases implemented, and trying to break down those traditional barriers was the aha moment. Was we're already doing that at the Pacific Coast School, for instance. And so taking learnings from what we've done with the Pacific Coast School and personal successes and learning plans and trying to drive that now back into the standard model school system, I think can be done. We've already got a leg up on it, and it's not as daunting as maybe starting from zero. We're already starting from, you know, 0.2 or 0.3 in that process.
Thank you. Trustee Dalton? Just if you'd like to add anything?
No, I really enjoyed it. It was overwhelming.
Yes.
I agree with everybody else. I don't think it's time to sell a book.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. New business, 10.1, BCPC bargaining representative council member election. May I pass this over to you?
When we run the election, I'll explain why we're having an election. So in consultation with BCPC, Trustee Horn recognized that part of his work engagement and membership of another union left him in a position of conflict of interest to be the board's BCPC trustee representative. I'll briefly summarize those conflict rules. So if you as a trustee or your parent, spouse, or child have membership in either of the unions that are represented in our district or in a union that is also widely used across the province in K-12, that would put you in a conflict of interest position and you would not be eligible to be the BCPC trustee representative.
Thank you. Any questions for that before we begin? Great. I don't know how to run it.
You just gotta call for it.
I would like to open the floor for nominations for the BCPC bargaining representative member. Trustee Deal?
I'd like to nominate Pucci.
Would you accept that nomination, Trustee Pucci?
Yes.
Wonderful. Trustee Horn?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Sanchez.
Would you accept that nomination, Trustee Sanchez?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other nominees? Going once? Twice? We will now have a vote.
All right, so I will, in a moment, be sending you an email with a link to the Survey Monkey. and the email, see that shortly and be able to go to the provision of the app.
And it does say chair, whatever it is for representative.
And I'm missing one vote, but there is one candidate who has 4 votes already, so will be successful.
I didn't get my section. It didn't come out for me to vote.
Did you check your email?
Yeah, I got it, but nothing else came in.
Sorry, did you get an email from our secretary treasurer?
I'm sorry?
Did you get an email from Cam?
Yes, I did, but there was nothing there to say anything. It just
There's
says,
There's a little tiny blue link.
okay, let me see. Oh, okay. It just says, oh, send a message, is that it?
Nope, you'll, just above the big box, there should be a small blue link.
A small blue link?
Yeah, like,
Says Survey Monkey on
it says Survey Monkey on it. It's in blue, right? Yeah.
No, it just says send a message here. I don't know. It says Zoom, send a message.
How many, you said there's already 4 votes. Let's just move on. Well, if someone's already got 4 votes, then there's no sense. So if there's 4 votes, then
We do have 4 votes for one candidate, Trustee Sanchez.
Well,
Or would you like to text your vote to Mr. McIntyre?
yes. So how do I do that now?
On your phone, you would have to text. Or I guess you could send an email to him. You good?
Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna do that now. Anyway, I could make it quite clear. I'm gonna vote for myself. That's it. Does that help? Well, because I have to go through a whole lot of stuff. Why should I?
Thank you.
it.
Everyone has voted.
4 votes for Trustee Pucci and 2 votes for Trustee Sanchez.
Wonderful, thank you. Were you able to hear that? We have
Yeah,
4 votes,
I didn't, what was that?
4 votes for Trustee Pucci and 3 for Trustee Sanchez.
That's good.
Thank you. And now we do not have to vote on our alternate. Oh, sorry, and I declare you elected, Trustee Pucci.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay,
And 10.2, our alternate remains the same. Thank you, Trustee Sanchez.
okay.
Great, information items, 11.1, Christmas break is rapidly approaching. December 19th to December 19th, 2022 to January 2nd, 2023. Schools reopen on the 3rd, I do believe, correct?
Correct.
Wonderful, thank you. 11.2, our next board meeting is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. And 11.3, non-instructional day for our middle and elementary is Monday, January 23rd, 2023. I will note that on the minutes as well. We do now have a 10-minute question and answer period. Going once. Going twice. Not seeing any. I would love to wish everyone a very wonderful holiday season, and please take time to nourish your soul and whatever fills your heart, and wishing you all a wonderful holiday and a very happy 2023. We are adjourned.
Okay,
Merry Christmas,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
bye, everybody.